Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. I would like to welcome you to the second day of the dialogue between Russian scientists and Buddhist scholars. Without further delay, the first presenter would be Dr. Namgyal Hamo from the Menzikang, which is the Tibetan and Astrological Institute. So we will begin today's session with her presentation on understanding the world through traditional Tibetan medicine. Please.
Tujedoe tunze jomdende senzam tube ngendue tungyekyop tosum nese sange mengila bendurayo la chaselo sisum jigdin chegu joben cho lusung nide kigo rapselwe gede linshi khala wangyurshin pende yonang gichir tembarshu shekyabu tambar gosum kyuba chembe chaksoyungun tutane kabdi jolengi sojonti ki ani kapsabhabe Pegi sorigbe, Timomay be Socio-economic any Kezele Kabdi Tolengi Jishi, Tatebe, Nidu Ringishig, any my Ingeto, and Yesin Shuchobe, now Shugi.
Speaking in English.
First of all, good morning, His Holiness, esteemed scientists from Russia, as well as scholars from Russia and Buddhist scholars, and all the participants who are gathered here. I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you, Delo Rinpoche, for squeezing in my presentation in your very tight schedule. So without much delay, I will begin with my presentation on understanding the world through traditional Tibetan medicine on a few relevant topics based especially on what we have discussed so far during the dialogue, during this dialogue, on the point of view of Tibetan medicine, which may be of some new information, especially to some of the scientists who have come here. So the main aim of the dialogue today is about understanding the world, and that is main aim is to create happiness, right? Create happiness, and happiness to whom? To us, right? To us as the human beings. And from the point of, to speak on the point of view of Tibetan medicine, I would first of all like to begin with some understanding about us as human beings from the point of view of Tibetan medicine, we call as Lu, right? And human body, according to Tibetan medicine, is an aggregate of the 6 elements, which includes the 5 elements, the 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. Earth, which acts as the foundation; water, which is the force behind, cohesion of the matter, due to its fluidity nature; fire as the energy for the maturation; and air as the basic element for all the movements, necessary for the growth to take place; and space as the space which is very vital for the growth to take place. And these 5 elements.
Message. Heat is heat. Just one. The fires heat,
Yes.
energy, air brings energy, lungche. Energy creates heat. Heat creates water.
Yes, absolutely, yes. And space, which is necessary for the room for the maturation. And these basic 5 elements contribute to what we call as the physical body of the human being. And the 6th element is the consciousness, we call in Tibetan as Namshe, right? And which is the entity of the mental body. So these 2 entities of the mind and physical body are inseparable. And this also supports that psychology is very much the part of traditional Tibetan medicine, though it is a very old tradition, because when we talk about the conception, conception, we begin in our system from the causes of conception, followed by the various stages of fetal development and so forth. When we talk about the cause of the conception, we don't only talk about the sperm and the ovum. In addition to the healthy sperm and ovum of the parents, there's other important factors, vital factors, which are indispensable for the successful conception to take place. This suppose what we discussed yesterday, like even though there is a absolute healthy sperm and ovum of the parents, but we are not 100% sure whether somebody will conceive or not, right? And this is an answer that there should be a presence of consciousness along with the sperm and ovum of the parents for a successful conception to take place. So also the 5 elements which contribute to all the bodily components. Each has their own contribution towards specific bodily components. And these 3 entities, like the entities related with the parents, consciousness, and 5 elements, also should be forced by the karma or the lay, lay or the karma on the part of the, all these entities, kuta, sem, sum, and the force of afflictive emotions as well. All these factors are indispensable for a successful conception to take place. Any absence of any of these factors leads to, infertility. Because nowadays, so many percentages of infertilities, and when I just go through the, survey, I found out that even though the sperm and ovum are absolutely fine, there are over 20% of infertility cases where you don't have any answer and you label it as an idiopathic or unknown reason. So why? Or it may be like a random chance. So I think there is something to think over, over this unknown cause, why, or a random chance. After the successful conception takes place in a womb, right? There are various stages of fetal development, as we are all aware, right? In our medicine, it talks about, these fetal developments in 3 different stages, basis on the similarities with the, in terms of shape and development, based on the fish stage, the 2nd month, during the 2nd month of prenatal development, and then 3 to 4 month as the tortoise stage, and finally in the 3rd trimester, pig stage, all these 3 stages through 38 weeks, with the action of 38 different types of loom, each having different names with different functions, which are responsible for the weekly development of the fetus. This is one of the important role of the air element, as the force of movement, as the energy which is vital for all kinds of movements, within our body. Now, what does sperm and egg contribute? In Tibetan medical system, it says that sperm cell, which says that sperm cell contributes to the skeletal and nervous system of the fertilized egg or zygote or whatever, while the egg cell gives rise to rest of the bodily components such as muscles, blood, and visceral organs. I think which might be of some interest to our neuroscientists, or and also I saw a relevant explanation in modern science which says that sperm and egg contribute equally to an offspring's genetic material, but egg contributes to all the parts of the cytoplasm, the cytoplasmic components, while sperm contributes nothing to these cytoplasmic components, which I think is something of interest. I may be wrong. Another relevant topic, which is very much relevant with what we have been discussing in this dialogue from the point of Tibetan medicine during the fetal stages of development. During the 6th month of the fetal development, especially in the 24th week, embryonic age, as the embryonic age, what happens is all the visceral organs develop quite well, and after that, followed by the fetus that can experience the deda dungi, experience of pleasure or comfort and pain that the fetus experienced during this period. Again, in the 25th week, it says that tsanga bala lungi gyuachung, dunda tsanga la nishu sengal lungi gyuachung, which says that there is a proper flow of lung as the energy takes place throughout the body. And in Western medicine, during the 15 weeks of pregnancy, it says that the lungs aren't the only system that's gearing up for air intake. Your baby's nostrils, which have been plugged up till now, that are opened, in the 25th week, as mentioned in the Tibetan medicine, followed by this flow of lung energy taking place, So this actually allows your little one to begin taking, breathing practice. So in the 26th week, it mentioned that there is a clarity of mental recollection, particularly of the past life. In the 26th week of the fetal development, that the fetus has this mental recollection, especially of his past life, which is mentioned in our medical system, which may be of a little bit interest to some of you. So, to further understand our body, which has the entities, human body, which has the entities of the both physical and mental body, we need to understand our bodily components from the point of view of Tibetan medicine. There are 3 principal energies, Nöje and Yepasum. These 3 energies are very important in our medicine, which are Lung, Tipa, and Pekin. When they are loosely translated as wind, fire, bile, and phlegm. Wind is the light and moving energy. It has many other characteristics as well, but predominantly light and moving energy, which is to do with all our bodily and mental movements, And it is quite neutral in its functions in the sense that because it's light and moving and it's very subtle, it can be associated with both the energies of a body, Energies, so you can say, or the body states, or diseases, which can be all in all grouped into 2 as the cold and hot disorders. So lung, because of its light and moving and subtle nature, can be associated with both the sides, Whereas tipa, bile, or fire, is burning nature, right? Hot and burning nature, it's to do with mainly the hot disorders, hot nature of our body or system. Pekin, or phlegm, is a cold energy. It is heavy and moist, wet, because of these characteristics. It's a cold entity in our body, or cold energy. So these 3 principal energies have to be balanced in order to have a good, healthy state of, health. Any imbalance in these 3 energies, gives rise to imbalance in the form of disease, right? What we call as disease. And we try to bring balance in these 3 states, these 3 energies. So what happens is when they are in balanced state, we have a good health. But if they are imbalanced, we have what we call as disease, right? But how do we, look at, where do we look at the disease? Where do the disease manifest exactly is our bodily components, right? And we need to know what are our bodily components in Tibetan medicine. These are the important 7 bodily components. Nutritional essence is the essence that we derive from our nutrition, after digestion, which is absorbed to the circulatory system, to the liver through the portal hepatic circulation, where the liver synthesizes blood, and then followed by muscle, fats, bone marrow, regenerative successively. It says successively, one after another, this assimilation of these bodily tissues, one after the another, which means the interdependent nature of everything, all our bodily tissues. 3 main waste products, feces, urine, and sweat, right? Which are the main waste products that are separated, after the digestion. This separation is also undertaken by the digestive wind energy. This separation of the essence and the waste, after the digestion of the food is also very important. And this is done by one of the wind energy, a moving energy, right? Lao. And these are all the minor impurities. They tanda ningma di ragbe gi ningma da tawe ningma mangbo shojirla. Ani tanda listen dunyu denzo ge reme ya chik ma gyur di thangi re pena shashna tenam ningma poe pegen da nuti poge tima sha da ni sasum poge tima sha da ni tinde lo sok bata ningma mangbo jiyo re dinalo tima denzo nalo chugire na blue da denzo lang. So other bodily components are sin the chuse. In addition to these 7 bodily constituents and 3 waste products, some more important bodily components are the sin and the microbes, the microflora. This is also one of the important body component, as well as chuser. Chuser is the serous fluid, which is the derivative of the blood actually. And I have a picture from the modern medical textbook on the other side, which shows various bodily fluids that are derived from the plasma as the raw material. So chuse includes all other interstitial, extracellular fluid, transcellular fluid, and all these fluids, and which is all in Tibetan medicine is chuse. It's a very broad meaning. And that is quite interesting because when your digestion is not good, your blood is not healthy. Along with that, excessive chuser or serous fluid is formed. And this gives rise to so many chronic diseases, like all these metabolic disorders we are facing today, like cancers, arthritis, gout, high blood pressure, diabetes, all these things, same cause, in Tibetan medicine. In different forms of manifestations, some in the form of, accretion into tumors, some leakages in the form of ascites and edema, and so some these impure blood and chuse are spread everywhere around in the body, causing different types of diseases like arthritis, gout, ulcers, esophageal varices, and even hemorrhoids and spleen enlargement, and so many diseases has the same cause in our medicine. Now coming to the most relevant point is about the tsa, or the vital or life channel or vessel. This is the vessel, which is the pathway or the route through which our bodily tissues are nourished, right? It's a very important component in our body as the life or vital channel. In our medicine, tsa is a very broad meaning. It includes all the, you can say, the vessels, whether it's the blood vessels or nerves or lymph vessels, or all kinds of ducts are included in tsa. Broadly, they are classified into 2, which means black life channel or vessel, and the white vessel. So I will not talk much about this thing because it's very comprehensive and in our text, and we don't have much time to talk a little bit about the white channel, which is to do with the brain and nervous system. blood vessel. La
Soksa.
la lung yor la.
Lung ruwa.
La. Ta soksa kana ni le na pu di ani lung yor ba shi kang la ani cha zo cha do la. Cha ba shi. Cha di shi che che. Ta soksa kar bu jura un di lung zo shi che. Soksa ka be na lo cha yo mar ba la. Nang lo cha yo mar ini ta soksa ka bu rang gi deb la cha gi ta chu den zo zo ro la. Cha sa gi de ye yo re.
Soksa leshung,
La.
sana, kendu je sadi pechi, sa romance,
La la re.
right?
La re.
Level leshung, sagar,
Tu du su.
sa kyangma che.
La za kyang ma. La.
Sa soksa sadi, umar chegi yoyna mena sam chanchu.
Soksa di da de di Roma da umani ya do su yu sir la. Soksa de la. Soksa de la lung da ni dom da.
Soksa leshung siduwa, soksa sidizani di jungsa che. Tele chunga, sana da zagar ni che.
Soksa ama di zo che ba dine la o da dire ta so chabe za sum la ni din de shi kya yu ga la chabe za ni dewa le sum ge za ji khela so le ba cha za ji phadu su be soksa che za ji thu du su be ani di lung da ni dom di la o din de ji ta zo de soksa de le ta ye la sum do cha o la. The nervous system is included in the white channel because it doesn't have the predominant blood, except for its supply from the outside in the form of vasa nervorum, right? But inside it's predominantly the flow of lung energy, whereas in the case of the black channel, it's predominantly blood. So brain in our medicine during the formation, during the prenatal development or during the conception, from the early embryonic stage, one main principal vessel from the umbilical cord shoots straight up to the head and forms the brain. The nature of this vessel, which shoots up to form the brain, is watery nature. It's watery nature with the force of lung energy. And the mental delusions which is associated with the flame of cold energy hence resides in the brain. As a result, the effect of dullness and confusion being felt from the head. When you talk about our whole body, based on the three energies or based on the three mental emotions, then the head is the seat of cold energy, whereas the middle part of the body between your navel and heart is predominantly hot or tipa nature based on the liver, the gallbladder, and then the life channel, the soksa. So, and then the sacred, the lower body part, which is to do with the desire, which is to do more with the lung energy, specifically because of the long bones, the femurs and all. So these three energies also divided into our three portions of our body based on the predominant presence of these energies. So this is the one of the 89 old paintings on Tibetan medicines, which were initially drawn in the 17th century back in Tibet, and one of them, this is about the nervous system in Tibetan medicine. Here is one of the chart related with nervous system, and here it shows about different shapes of the head, our head. Like there are 7 of them: pointed crown, head with a pointed crown, bulgy occipital or triangular shaped head, rectangular shaped head, elliptical shaped head, elongated head, and head with a flat crown. So all these different shapes of a head related with our nature, and also they have some impacts on their ability to survive or heal during the injuries and damage. Again, another interesting thing about the nervous system is the 7 different characteristics of the brain, on the basis of the consistency of the brain tissue. Shale, male, phunzan leba, tumle, shole, ole, chule. There are 7 types, also based on our psychosomatical nature, rangshi. and the shapes of the head, and also the consistency of the brain also different. There are 7 different types, beginning with the brain with sturdiness like that of a flesh, which is more sturdy, and then butter-like softness, second is. Third is the shape with hollows, just like the honeycomb. And then consistency of that of the broken curd. And then next is the curd, like consistency. And then milk, and followed by water. The consistency decrease from the first to the next successively. So and all these aspects, when I put together in one slide, you have on the first column all the constitution. Constitution in our medicine is very important. We develop nature or constitution during the conception, based on the parents' egg and sperm. Kuta nyene seda chulamgir. So our innate nature or constitution is determined on the basis of the contributions from our parents. Lao, kidi, tanda rangshin da jani, lungti pegen den duba, yorba, dida ani unzu goyi yipche, and dine lebegi rangshin. Lebegi, the punto bureau, the Kalugi, Kebar Shuju Sari, Kashi Karbo shadow within the chair, and the name Allah to it in the Yawa, Dunes Shaudu, that in Zunzo, that Datu Chila, Taganation, Dajik, that Abdam, that in the Chundugi, Sokala, Gitindigi, Kebar, Tindu Yusarilla.
저거서 곧 줍시 저래. 대 레벨 해야래.
Lao to she that the day is a lungti giranshi bachila, and this tumle, this jana shang to mention andola, tumle la do that tumayrola, the shoreba, tindigi any color chair. That under Konema, Tindisia Cheverishna, the dish, Posang Lily Kebar, Tabdam da, Tinde, Chundugala, Sola Sugi, Tinde, Mama to this Sola to Dola. That the key there was now to she, this key there was Dingsam Chagula. That Chugam the Shukchumboyana, any Sokawa.
Game goal your day.
Now. So it's very interesting that one of the staff from Anatomy Department of Dr. Rajendra Prasad Government Medical College, where we have our students going there for some practical workshop. And one of the staff wants to collaborate with Mensikang by measuring the head circumference. She wants to do a research on measuring the head circumference of our students, medical students. So I think it's quite interesting. The Soksakarbu, the white channel is.
So when his Holiness, in his childhood, when he plays with other people, butting his head on others, he would use this pointed part on the right.
As we are aware that there are innumerable blood vessels and nerves, just like the veins on the leaf, right? Some of the main important blood nerves that were mentioned, just to let you know, they are deep or internal nerves, and the superficial or external nerves, which they are mentioned in our text. And the deep or external nerves, which we don't see superficially, there are 13 of them. And the superficial or the external nerves, which we feel externally, and there are 6 of them. And 13 of them, which are deep nerves, they are connected with the internal visceral organs. Visceral organs from their corresponding, they come from the brain, of course, because brain is the reservoir of the nerves, but then they come down, travel down, and then from the corresponding vertebra, they connect to the corresponding visceral organs, all having of different predominant three principal energies, some having long, tipa, pagan, like that, 13 of them. And here it shows the vertebrae, from there these nerves come out and connect to the specific visceral organs. And these vertebrae are because of which are important points for applying some therapies like heat therapies, golden hammer therapy or moxibustion, like that. And then the outer nerves, the six main outer nerves which are connected to the limbs, the muscles and the ligaments and so on. There are 6 of them, and 2 Buguchen, 2 Jaji, these are all in Tibetan names, 2 Radna. And the Buguchen nerves, which are actually the nerves, of course, coming out from the brainstem of the brain, but then they actually come out through the legs, including the femoral nerve and the cephalic nerve and the sciatica nerve and all this length of nerves, you have different names, but in our medicine, just one name. Chegi lane che ta meza ta na taksu phuki le di takpe su di ge ene phuki se jora tai phuki se lao di sang de dine ma thön che ani ama ke yong do la. So also the other 2, the Jaji nerves and the Radna nerves, are the nerves which are traveling, which are to do with the nerves of the arms. And just a little bit about, of course, there are more different these things. And these are last 2 slides I have. And so before I end, I would like to say that in order to create less suffering, so and create more happiness, what we can, as His Holiness mentioned yesterday, that so many of the sufferings are our own creations, ecological contamination, killings, and this negative emotions, and all this is our own creations. So we definitely have some ways to overcome. Because these are own creations, we can create a way to overcome them. And according to Tibetan medicine, we say that the cause of the disease, the distant cause of the disease is with us all the time, just like the shadow of a bird, no matter how the bird flies, how far. But the shadow as the root cause is with us all the time, but it doesn't manifest as disease. We don't feel as disease. In order for a cause to manifest as disease, it has to come across to secondary factors. Which says that without the secondary factors, the cause will not manifest as disease. So, and nowadays we have more exposure, we are more accessible to so many disease causes because of so many technology, contamination, so many things. We have much more causative factors of disease than before, when we had less resources. So what we can do is be mindful, be more mindful, try to be more mindful of these causative factors, because by staying away from these causative factors, we can overcome so many diseases or sufferings. And through how? And through these 2 main measures, there are other measures as well, but there are 2 most important ways is through, avoiding the unwholesome diet, which in Tibetan medicine is based on the taste, 6 tastes, and 8 potencies, and 17 qualities. Based on these things, we can, choose which is more beneficial to you or more harmful to you. And another way is through, avoiding unwholesome lifestyle. Lifestyle is not just to do with the exercise, not just the physical lifestyle, but it's a very comprehensive meaning, including the lifestyle to do with mind, body, speech, on the basis of, ethical, social, seasonal, and spiritual basis. Through these ways, we can have a bigger picture of the lifestyle and try to adopt a more positive and wholesome lifestyle through which we can stop the seed of the crop to bear the fruit as the disease. In the end, I will conclude that we should try to approach more holistic, being a healthcare practitioner, more holistic healthcare approach, taking into consideration human being as the entities of, having entities of both the mind and body, without separating them, as well as without separating each system from the other system in our body. We have over 13 different systems, right? 13 systems in our body. And we need to give an account of other systems while taking into consideration one particular system which is affected with the disease. Then mother and child healthcare, very important, because yesterday we had a discussion about training of our mind, which can be done through family realization, which is not possible within a very short span of time, and it needs familiarization, and we can achieve this through especially through training the young minds. We can achieve much more, a larger cause. And knowing your psychosomatical nature. We are all same as human beings, but each individual is a little bit different in terms of psychosomatic nature, behaviors, indisposition, tendency toward diseases, your response towards treatments. All this is one of the important 10 factors which has to be taken into consideration when we diagnose a disease, when we apply a treatment. Chuchu. Neja yudu rangshin ne kamda soba juice yore ne kam ne da medu nyamdop da komba diju tamo yinje tax. These 10 factors, it's very important to take into consideration, including the health of the digestion, digestive fire or heat is also one of the 10 important. Then importance of spiritual practice, especially in the mental health care, and through these ways, we can bear on our human physical and mental body as the root and branch and leaves, and then finally we can bear a fruit of good health and longevity, through which we can bear the 3 fruits of spirituality, wealth, and happiness. Thank you so much for your patience. I feel so grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Can I have a question? I would like to ask a very short question. What are the reasons behind, what is the background for very crucial statement that clarity of mental recollections of past lives come to fetus at 26th week? Why not 36 or 32 or 24? What is background for this critical statement?
At this stage, the mental recollection, the clarity is perceived. Is clearly perceived, I think so. And after that, the clarity becomes more, because it says that after that, all the developments are more advanced, in terms of all the developments, whether to do with the organs or the mental aspect or whatever, is further more advanced than, yeah.
But fetus cannot communicate, so how do we know that the mental recollections are coming at 26th week, but not 24 earlier or 32 later?
And not because before is that, at this stage, all the orifices, the body orifices, the ducts, the openings of the senses or organs or the ducts, all are opened. Because of that, there is, as you saw 2 weeks before that, there is a proper flow of energy. It mentioned the proper flow of energy, followed by, this mental recollection. Yes.
ngame chikyang ma chenge de chemo guchi tudu sa shishto wa tene ya loya ge yun du zane chen di den jere leba ko yarge ru shukshbu cha yun du eni ngame phagja chi do de yede ko eni ka leil pa mingu be so cha che di yosare chasa da tunda khasa tunda ni stu kong tunda ni stu yang zo shi sa de anda chembe ni bo de kikuru 다 전면 누구로 통화도 스케인도 전에 아니 경험을 처벌을 그래 뜻을 채디 아니 신의 용돼야지 디쇼다고 못주니 저러셔 그시 아데 가스케 중소한 안데 투전스리라기 영시티 是吧 투전스리 是吧 샤즈 그냥 샤즈 가시요 투전스리 투전스리 가 투전스리 공간의 영시디 가스게 레벨들이 취주가 하나다 시부지 경험을 세고 시우찬데 가스가 루지 러버다 바슬랑아 공스투스 또 등산 그런 로컬에서 죽지사 지사 가 저기 주고 인물이 또 등산 정도 있으면 정문도 사 애는 좀 더야지 애는 애를 고쳐 버렸어요 지주가는 애 배지 정기를 쓸 수도 아무라도 건설도 같이 정기에서 시기 그래서 들게서 가서 가지고 하고 정문도 제자고 야 로야 알레유도 즉 천디든 제 지야 가서래 참바주를 달래받고 천디 레버도 숙천보도 사윤도 그도 몸에 박자지 서부 제대로 이니 패지를 명거버셔야 돼. 이제 패지 있어요. 신주가라 천디한테 레베 즉 가서래 열개로 로심베 그도데 몸에 박자디 더 세르게 버시. 패지 패지셔도 상한데 참으리 가오민주고 너나 디지지 열에 dunja tangpo dunja nipo dunja sumo si dunga gao ngen zhugun dunja nara sa dida dini si durya di men shung nara sung shaba dida gao ngen zhugun nara yue shaba di jik she ka
jik tsore jik tsore
dhawre dwe en ten sang da sen ribe tawane xia ji yorba da di sum zhe ni jik research ru che che tep zhe duan tu na yao yung gurda yorbe Yes.
So, with regards to the memory that Dr. Namdala was talking about, the fetus having the memory of the past life at the 26th week, His Holiness feels that may be true because of the power of memory and mindfulness or memory being gained at that stage at the during the fetus embryo, and then once a child is born from a mother, what happens is sometimes when children remember their past life, it is at a very early age that they do so, but that is maybe
the brain
no
of this life
no.
Not yet fully developed. At that time, there is greater chance some vague memory about past life. Then this brain of this life, fully developed, then that vague sort of memory disappear.
Generally, yes, but I was asking why it is exact 26th week.
Tsanga pala lungi gyuwa chung lan songdwa, di medro. Tsanga pala lungi gyuwa chung, lungi gyuwa di yakusho chayong kodwa, tsanga pala. Tsadu pala simge temba sis, di deche lungi gyuwa dinzo yago yungde.
So,
As I mentioned before, that in the 25th week, there is a flow of energy, you know,
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
opening
yeah.
up of all the orifices and all,
understood. Thank
then
you.
there is more clarity.
Thank you. Shall we move or have more questions? I think we.
another one. Yeah. Please stand now. Yes. Question. For microphone.
Thank you very much. My question is, what is the Tibetan medicine opinion on allergies and autoimmune diseases? Thank you.
Allergies.
Regarding allergies, it is very much a part of Tibetan medicine. There is a category of disease, you know, where it includes different types of poisonings and contamination. Poisonings and contamination. And allergies are included in one of these, you know, poisonings in the sense, poisoning can be of different types, jardu, gyurdu, nguituk, natural poisons, or compounded poisons, you know, literally, how to say, you know, really contaminating manually, you know, in the form of compounded poisoning. And then jardu, gyurdu, you know, some can, like different, like in the case of foods, you know, foods. One food may be beneficial to you, but if you combine with some other foods, you know, you consume different foods together, they may have some inhibitory actions, you know, they may have some ill effects, you know, contradict the efficacies or effects of the actually good, you know, food. And then jardu compounded. I think allergies are included in the jardu, you know, because of the bites of the mosquitoes. You know, you have allergies, or because of intuition or intake of some foreign bodies in the form of chemicals or food. You develop allergies, you know, because some counter reactions, you know, taking place in our body. So these are included in the poisoning. Poisoning. Yeah, autoimmune is also to do with different kinds of wrong reactions, you know. Anything, we should not fall into the three extremes of too less, too much, or in a wrong ways, you know, whether it's to do with our bodily functions, whether it's to do with our intake of food, medicines, exercises, all other lifestyle activities, you know, falling into the three extreme categories of too less, too much, excessive, or in a wrong ways, you know, cause wrong, how to say, impact or reactions. So autoimmune is one of them.
So, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are an hour, 15 minutes behind schedule. I would like to request Dr. Namdullah to remain with us in the afternoon so we can continue our open discussion, question, answer. As I said before, we're running a little bit late, but let's take a tea break now. So there's some equipment that needs to be rearranged. We have 5 presenters that need to present, and we will continue after tea break. Please join us back after 10 minutes. Thank you. Please return to your seats promptly. We are running behind schedule. Out of respect to continuation of the session, please return promptly to your seats, please.
Я тоже возьму, пожалуй. Я последний, если успею. Да. Thank you. Do you like them? Yes. I noticed. Thank you very much. Давайте это потом обсудим.
Blessed.
Because I am socialist.
Are you socialist?
I am totally against feudal system. Ruled by one individual, wrong. Any country belongs to the people. So democracy is, I think, best system.
But do you find the democracy in any country today, in some country, which you can give us as example of democracy?
Like in smaller country, like Switzerland or Sweden, Norway. I think in these smaller countries, I think they practice democracy quite fully. Then big nations, I don't know.
In Russia?
Too much power.
In Russia, is it possible?
So I'm socialist. And more than that, as far as socio-economic theory, I'm Marxist. So I love Marxism, equal distribution. Wonderful. I don't like Lenin.
But you know,
Lenin,
yes,
you see, too much emphasis power.
but
That also I feel we can't blame Lenin because the circumstances is civil war there, difficult situation, then tight control, and also censorship relevant.
But you should be also communist. The basic philosophical idea of communism is that everyone should try to make better for the rest of people. And if all people will behave in
That's
this
right.
way,
That's right.
the society
Yes.
will be happy.
The Karl Marx See, his main sort of concern is working class people's right. The beginning of industrialization in Europe, the workers, I think, too much exploited by concerned businessmen or leader. So the revolution, I think, the importance of the right of working class people and equal distribution. Wonderful.
So we shall begin. Professor Anokin is chairing our session, and I would like to pass the floor to Professor Anokin. Thank you.
Your Holiness, today there will be 5 participants whom you already know from previous years and the last meeting. And the first one is Professor Victoria Lysenko. She is a professor at the Institute of Philosophy and an expert in Eastern philosophy, and particularly Buddhist philosophy.
Your Holiness, before this meeting, I watched the video of the previous meeting dedicated to the discussion of your book, which held almost 10 years ago. And there you said that the dialogue between modern contemporary science and Buddhism is on the level of Buddhist science, is on the level of the Buddhist science and Western science. And as far as Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist meditation practices are concerned, these are private affairs of the Buddhists. You said that. My question is, now, after 10 years of developing this dialogue, are you of the same opinion, or your opinion has changed? Do you think today that Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist meditation is a private affair of the Buddhist and not be involved in the dialogue between scientists and Buddhists?
I usually make a distinction. Buddhist science and Buddhist religion. Buddhist religion, private business. The Buddhist science is something also the common related with so other people. And then some Buddhist philosophy, now I think the science, Buddhist philosophy, particularly Nalanda tradition, Sanskrit tradition, is entirely based on investigation, not belief, not faith. So every important point explained through reasoning. Now, for example, the Four Noble Truths. In Sanskrit text wrote by Dharmakirti and Parmanavuttika Karika, the second chapter, he explained these things through reasoning, not Buddha's quotation. So therefore, any reasoning, ultimately, 중세 고죽을 리베치아 인도자네 탈 무슨로 또 고도. 이거 민고래 들려래. 제발 롱기스러래.
So even after using inference, in the end, you also have to develop an experience of what you are proving through inference. So that's why in Buddhist text, in logical text, it also said that inferential cognition is also like a blind person following someone who is leading.
If I understand you correctly, this part of Buddhist philosophy, which concerns Pramāṇavāda, epistemology, belongs to Buddhist science. Is that true?
그래서 I also have right to swallow these biscuits. Yesterday I mentioned there is a lot of quality of Buddhahood, all through the way to reasoning is ultimately based on today's reality, including reality of our mind, our consciousness, the reality of phenomena. So here, as far as the phenomena is concerned, quantum physics now included. Then, internal thing is concerned, the anatma theory, no independent self. Self designated on the combination of body and mind. If self is something independent, then through change mind, some change the soul is impossible. So since the self is designated on the combination of body and mind, so mind change, self also change. So all these, now Tibetan word, shila medevaji lam komniya yomare. So dine indusane gomuludugi sangya namje che tempa nyela yanda dance, sine tempa ni tane, any lol yuan dugi yabata, desutedi deni namsha tane, and lamji namsha tang yare, tell then in debut and didi, dishik to worry. So
without there being a basic reality that is on the ground level, you cannot actually, even in Buddhism, talk about developing the path based on the understanding the reality. And therefore, Master Nagarjuna has said that the Buddhas have given their teaching, the Buddha has given his teaching on the basis of the two truths, which are the conventional and the ultimate truth. And
so truth, another word, appearances, truth of appearances on level, that level, and truth, ultimate reality.
Yes.
So, so therefore, shila medevachi yuan yomare. Chisan dine indu andaludusuna shitnebani lam tabshini drevukuni sari.
And therefore, on the basis of understanding these two truths, which are the ground level or reality, you develop the path that leads you to the goal, which is enlightenment.
So, our conversation, the dialogue between Buddhist scientists and Western scientists is on the level of empirical reality, is it?
Yes. Yes. That's what we call as the ground reality.
So,
and many years ago, when first, at the beginning, talk with scientists, some organizer described dialogue between science and Buddhism. Then I made correction. No, not Buddhism. Buddhist science. That means last over 30 years, during discussion with scientists, I never raised question of next life or salvation. These are Buddhist concepts. So we simply discuss the kasoda. 통용한 주 찔러. 가서 참으로 문제한테.
So we discuss things which are obvious to us, empirical experiences,
Common ground.
that is shared by everyone.
But if some philosophical Buddhist
religion, then I think yesterday I already mentioned pick up one medicine and say this is best medicine. You can't say. Like I think here also, some people love these nuts. Some people some kasa, different biscuits. So even here, small number, different taste. Some prefer this, some prefer that. So therefore, the food of mind, that is religion, must be different religious sort of tradition, must be there.
Yeah. And could I resume your speech in two words? If some Buddhist philosophical theories like Pramanavada and Anatmavada would be useful for Western scientists to understand the Buddhist position, should they be included, taken in account in the Western and Buddhist science dialogue?
그래서 참아 연구를 learn I think in Buddhist tradition, I usually prefer to use the word ancient Indian tradition. Before Buddha come, already the tradition of logic already there, and also the tradition of analyze mind. So psychology, before Buddha come, already there. So I usually describe ancient Indian knowledge. So these are, in the philosophical field, yes, Buddhist philosophy, so the non-Buddhist traditions philosophy, differences. But when we explain about about reality, about mind, and then way to investigate or explaining these things, since according Indian tradition, before Buddha, one very sort of important sort of tradition, that is Sangha philosophy. Then after that, the Jain philosophy, both no idea of creator, rather self-creation. So therefore, now, if you accept, according to the theistic religion, there is creator. So if you pray to God, pray, yes, through God's blessing, some change. We expect it. Some are realistic expectation, some are unrealistic expectation. So now, non-theistic religion, no God, no creator, self-creation. So your future depends on yourself. So you see, your future depends on your own action. Action, positive action, negative action, we cannot judge on the surface. We have to go motivation. So then psychology, and including meditation, analytical meditation, these come to transform our mind. That's the Indian tradition, Indian psychology. The way to change these things, not through faith, but through awareness, so analytical meditation. So logic becomes very important.
Your Holiness, yeah. The next our next speaker.
Thank you.
Yes, is Professor Dubrovsky, with whom you already have some emotional bonds.
So I very much appreciate. If may I ask, what is your age?
Сколько вам лет?
90.
Near 90.
Oh.
Not yet, but
So
close to
I'm
90.
very, very sort of encouraged or blessed by elder people support me. Thank you.
I am very old.
Participated in the
Yes, that's right. That's right. Right?
He has actually a medal, medal for this.
Yes.
So,
Who have the
I
experience
think,
Second World War.
yes, yes. The abstract of Professor Dubrovsky will be read by Alexander Chikin. Yes?
First of all, I want to ask you one question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. English is very bad. Send my friend.
So my English also broken English. So the old Russians' English also broken English. So very good, very fair.
Still, I think I will read it now. And there is a question to Your Holiness. Today we are witnessing the ever-increasing importance of the issues connected to the development of converging technologies, which are also known as NBICS technologies. This is an acronym for nanotechnology, biotechnology, informatics, cognitive science, social technologies. And this convergence is called the main techno-scientific trend in the development of our civilization.
Correct. All right.
Those technologies are supposed to base the anthropo-technological evolution in the future as they interact and enrich each other. They are capable of creating powerful instruments to solve the global problems of our civilization. We cannot imagine already a scientific development of the problem of consciousness outside of these contexts. And aiding the growth of cognitive and socio-humanitarian science are nano and biotechnologies, which are providing new methods to study the brain. These are, for example, the method of optic genetics or the method of penetrating the skull with light. So the question is, how would you assess the importance and perspectives of converging technologies?
Converging. In the past, some occasion, some scientists, you see, they believe the technology may create because the consciousness or something. So, because of the new sentient being, artificial intelligence. I doubt. I think modern technology, very sophisticated, but still human mind is more sophisticated. So, technology is human creation. So ultimately depend on human mind. I think if scientists or technologists, create, new being without anger, the most welcome. There's no need effort, just relying on technology or like that. I don't think. So even our mind, there is limitation. So technology also, there is limitation. I don't think technology, ultimately cannot match with human wisdom or human mind, I feel. So technology, under human, human preservation, controls,
Guidance.
Otherwise, technology, I think too much the extreme view, technology can solve everything. I think that's extreme. And then mental training can solve everything. That also may be extreme. So combine. Since we have this physical, so technology very important for us dealing with this physical. And we have this mind. So technology related with the body, not mind.
Thank you very much. I am agree with you. Please.
Now, Professor Dubrovsky also had some words about the problem of consciousness. So, thoroughly discussed in your book, The Universe in a Single Atom. And he wanted to show that the experience of studying the consciousness in Buddhism does not contradict with his theory and the theories in the Western science in general. This experience you have in your Buddhist tradition may be used to achieve a deeper understanding of mind. Despite a number of significant differences in our descriptions and explanations of the phenomena of consciousness, we have a common conceptual platform for joint research, and some special theoretical and empirical work is surely needed to clearly identify the particular questions for such a collaboration.
Such
I totally agree on the list of and on the characteristics given in your book to the main difficulties the scientific approach faces in trying to solve the problem of consciousness. Consciousness has a specific and necessary quality of subjective reality. Western philosophical literature may also designate it with a number of related terms: mental, phenomenal, introspective, subjective experience, qualia. I will use the term subjective reality because it is the most general and encompasses all the above mentioned terms with their specifics. The quality of subjective reality is the main stumbling block for scientific approaches to the problem of consciousness, because no physical quality may be ascribed to it. And this appears really vividly in current research going on in brain reading. Brain reading is neuroscientific research to decipher brain neurodynamic codes of the phenomena of subjective reality.
Yes.
In your book, you stress that the key task is to incorporate subjective experience and individual lived experience into scientific research. And you say that the objectivist approach based on independent observation should be connected to the method of subjective contemplation, allowing to take into consideration those qualities that are characterized by personal lived experience of the phenomena of mind. You also say that you see there a field for wide and fruitful collaboration between modern science and contemplative traditions like, for example, Buddhism. I feel very encouraged by such statements. The most burning question in neuroscientific research of mind arises when they form the object of research and choose the methods for the discretization of subjective reality, the continuum of subjective reality, try to clearly identify the phenomena studied, determine their time intervals, ascribe personal and interpersonal invariant status to them. All those problems, if solved, will make the experience reusable for further experiments. If those questions remain unsolved, the object of research gets blurred and its neurodynamic correlates significantly lose scientific value. We don't have the efficient means to solve those essential questions yet, but such means are known through the experience of Buddhist meditation and practices. And you cover this in your wonderful book by saying that the Buddhist method of contemplation is the experience of self-observation supported by hard training in the development of this contemplational method and the strict check of the validity of the results received. This is exactly what we need to form personal and interpersonal invariants of certain phenomena of subjective reality. These phenomena are taken to determine neurodynamic correlates and are an important prerequisite for the development of neuroscience upon collaboration with Buddhist specialists. This will allow us to make a serious step in the development of brain reading as well as in other branches of neuroscience. Indeed, here we may find new perspectives. If a representative of neuroscience masters meditative techniques and forms invariants of certain personal phenomena of subjective reality, he could use the method of autocerebroscopy to fix and study neurodynamic correlates of his own phenomena of subjective reality. And this would allow to create new types of brain-computer devices, new interfaces, and thus develop new forms of psychic autoregulation and control of external objects. As follows from my theory, the character of relation between the phenomena of subjective reality and the neurodynamic media, this character having the same cause, being simultaneous, and having one-to-one correspondence, it follows that changing a phenomena in our subjective reality, we will change the neurodynamic correlates. And if I can voluntarily go from one thought to another, this ability is obvious to everybody. This means that I voluntarily transfer or translate one encoded neurodynamic formation to another. In other words, my ability to voluntarily control my views and thoughts means my ability to control a certain class of my own neurodynamic systems. Such approach allows for a deeper research into the phenomena of the effort of thought, the effort of will, and into the means of intensifying creative processes, finding new resources for psychic self-regulation both functional and moral. To put it differently, we are always able to increase the spectrum of our capacity to control our own brain neurodynamics.
그래, 숨쉬기 싫어, 그래.
Those theoretical provisions of the informational approach I develop align very well with your concept of changing consciousness to develop the capacity for compassion and empathy, and in a wider sense, to elevate humanity. At the same time, your concept and Buddhist traditions significantly supplement and amplify my theoretical consideration, offer efficient means of changing consciousness that have not yet duly been investigated by the Western philosophical and scientific tradition. In your book, you give a detailed account of techniques and methods of various meditative practices aimed at changing our mind. These materials are very valuable and may serve particular goals of our scientific collaboration. The only point related to the problem of changing our mind that I find doubtful is the statement that the human mind is originally pure and contains no negative qualities. Historical analysis shows, however, that essentially negative qualities are unfortunately inherent in human nature. Such negative qualities of modern mass consciousness are unrestrained consumerism, aggressiveness, extreme egoism. And they were, to some extent, characteristic of all ancient peoples, primitive tribes, and in a sense they are characteristic of children. Human nature has altruistic traits as well, but today we see that they lose the battle with the negative ones. Meanwhile, these negative qualities like unrestrained consumerism, aggressiveness, etc., define aims and means of activity and lead to unavoidable deepening of our civilization's global crisis. If we fail to change them, we will face a lamentable fate. It is clear that changing our mind is vital and crucial for our civilization. As you say, inaction in the face of global problems has no excuse, and we urgently need a fundamental change in human mind. To this end, you have developed a system of ethics for all humanity, offering a wide set of instruments for self-discovery and improvement, for the fostering of high moral values. But is it possible to perform this fundamental task? The question remains open. We shouldn't give up, and the philosopher in this situation is obliged to support the optimistic perspective and the faith in the creative powers of our mind. This is what your life-affirming position and missionary activity are all about, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. So naturally now, yes, the mind, these things are subjective. Then 7 billion human beings, I think 7 billion different karsadimindi. Yeah, now I can't remember. Mary. No. Mary, remember chromosome. 7 billion human beings. You see, each different chromosome. So 7 billion different chromosomes. And with that, I think there are differences. But then basically, one common thing is everyone wants happy life, do not want suffering. Even animals also have that feeling. So every sentient being, every human being have a right to achieve that happy life. Now, joyful, happy, not on level of physical experience, but mental experience. Mental experience is more serious than physical experience. There are people who carry certain sort of aim, and in order to achieve that, you can, the people. Now, sports, you see, in order to achieve top. So I think several years, a lot of hardship. So the physical level, tiredness, and in some cases, pain, but they sacrifice in order to achieve that goal. That goal gives you satisfaction. It's an immense sort of, joyfulness. So therefore, the mental experience is more important than the physical level. So now, the basic human nature, yesterday I mentioned, you see, basic human nature is more compassionate. Because they love so much. Because they love so much. Infant, child. So then obviously, more peaceful mind, your health become good. Too much anxiety, too much anger, even you lose sleep. So peace of mind is very important. So that shows blood, this body, goes very well. Peace of mind. Agitative mind, angry mind, not go well with this, the blood, this physical. So there's a nature, nothing to do with religion. So now, I think yesterday also I mentioned, my serious concern is existing education, not adequate. Simply, you see, telling the well-being of this physical. For this physical, money important. Then the physical sensorial level, some sightsee, night, including sports, people enjoy. Then music, enjoy. Then good smell, good taste, good touch, including sex. All these, you see, people who only concern sensorial level experience, then these are useful. This one. So then, we are human beings. Sensorial level experience is common with other animals. Mosquitoes still, I don't know. Otherwise, you see, these are same. Then mental level. I think war, killing human being by human being, mobilized, exists only among human beings, not other animals. Some monkeys, maybe, I think, 20, 30, a group, and fight other group. But thousands, you see, the 100,000, or even million, mobilized, killing each other, exist only among human beings because of this special brain. Then science, human being created these things. So now time comes. This brain should utilize for inner peace, not just external thing. So now education should include more information about mind, about emotion, then how to tackle our emotion without touching any religion. Then you can include existing secular education. The existing education oriented about material value. So whole generation come through that kind of education, and then they create materialistic culture, always talking something, external thing. No one talking about inner peace. Then materialistic sort of life, materialistic culture. So then, from such sort of, society, leaders come from that kind of society, then leader also, you see, have to take care, maximum 5 years plan for economy. And in order to achieve some benefit in economy, sometimes use force. So all these, we oriented about material value, with material value, external value, lack of experience. Inner value is immense. You see, everybody want calm, rest. Calm, rest, directly related with mind or emotion. So now, everybody want that kind of result, but we totally ignore the real factor to create that kind of experience. So therefore, now I fully committed trying to in education, existing education should include some education about psychology, about mind, and for that, including the education about emotion. That, I think, firstly, I think all this knowledge is come from India. So now you two from the college, isn't it? So I'm thinking, going to meet tomorrow, some discussions, how to revive these ancient Indian knowledge. Firstly, should introduce in this country your constitution based on secular, respect all religion, and also respect non-believer. So modern India, modern Indian, too much copy from Western materialistic life. Now these are your treasure, which we, over 1,000 years, we kept. So please give us more money. Because over 1,000 years, we kept all this knowledge. So now time come. Firstly, India, this knowledge is their own knowledge, not something introduced newly. No, these are there. Now that, you see, should include, eventually, I think we start some sort of project as an experiment. In America, 2 cities, as far as I know, city of kindness, city of compassion. So accordingly, they carry more sort of activities about compassion, about kindness. Result, student within the city, more compassionate, more willing to help other, and much less trouble. So therefore, now I think firstly, India, I think should start this work. Then you can make contribution rest of the world, strictly secular way, not mixed with religion. So right from the beginning, I always make clear, Buddhist science, not Buddhism. So now, as I think yesterday I already mentioned, that in order to promote warm-heartedness, the scientific way explained, the people easily convince or accept. So therefore, I feel our work discuss the scientifically constant anger is very bad for our health. So these things, I think, convincing way to ordinary people. Yesterday also, we already mentioned, I mentioned like that. So our work will not bring result next 10 days or I think 2 decades, I don't know. I will not see. And with respect, you also will not see. The generation of 21st century whose age now below 30, they may see different world, peaceful world, compassionate world. I will not see. But it's our responsibility. We notice immense violence, like you mentioned, Second World War, and the nuclear weapon used on Japan soil, Nagasaki, Hiroshima. One of my previous visited this area. Oh, terrible. The irons melted. Then one watch there on 10 o'clock, it stopped and melted. And I met some old person, some women, who already have the experience of radiation of nuclear weapon. So I think there is encouraging sign. In 30s, 40s, you see, the scientists, you see, very much enthusiasm, very much excited, nuclear weapon. Now, world reach now how to reduce nuclear weapon. Eventually, how to make free nuclear weapon. So these are signs of maturity of human being. So hopeful. Peace now, I think, everywhere. People, you see, say, people prefer peace. American president, former president, Mr. Bush, I have very close sort of relations, contact. Since first meeting him, he acting like a human being. Some leaders not acting like human being, but acting like statue. And including some high lamas also, if you remember like that. I don't like that. For me, you see, kings or queens or popes and the beggar, same human being, same right, isn't it? I always shake hand and make joke and teasing. Whenever I met some people, and particularly the police with the uniform, they usually, you see, when I smile them, not just one smile, then I try to, tickle. Then they smile. So you see, Mr. Bush, wonderful, as a human level, wonderful. Then another occasion, after Iraq war happened, and another occasion, my meeting, I told him, I respect you, I love you, but some of your policy is concerned, I have great reservation. We both laugh like that. So, a wonderful person. I think good aim, democracy, democratic Iraq, bring democracy, sincere motivation, but method, use force. So counterproductive. Millions of Muslim world, then you see negative feeling towards America. So instead of, after sort of the September 11th event happened in New York and Washington, I wrote letter to President Bush, since I know very well. So besides my expression of condolence and prayer, I express, I hope you should deal this problem through non-violent way. But then, you see, he used American force. So no matter how sort of the reasonable goal and sincere motivation, but method, use force is wrong. Now today's world, I think eventually we should create some kind of concept. Any problem should solve through dialogue, through talk, with understanding their interest, their well-being, respect their sort of well-being. Then mutually agreeable solution. That's the only way. Say, we should win, they should lose. Impossible, isn't it? I feel. So, our scientist friend, you have, I think, great, potential, make a contribution, change human way of thinking through education. If I say compassion is important, then people say, oh, Dalai Lama said that. Naturally understandable, Dalai Lama is a Buddhist, the practitioner of Buddhism. If scientists say, they say, oh. So you have more sort of I think more sort of more potential to appeal people. The inner peace, important. So education, existing education, not adequate, should include, I usually describe, hygiene of emotion. That's important. So now, lunch, Marwe. So,
The mind. We must change the mind.
right?
Change the mind, our mind.
I think if we two together say, I think people may sort of find more conviction from your word, not my word. I'm, of course, well-known religious person. So in any way, now peace of mind.
Your word is very powerful.
Thank you. Now, let me say is one thing. Now, we talk peace of mind, importance of peace of mind, but at the same time, we have to take serious care about our stomach. So now, time for lunch. So this meeting is continuation. So future, I feel we will carry this kind of meeting continuously. And then one day, if possible, this kind of meeting in your own capital, Moscow.